Fellas, ladies, you looking for lotions? You looking for beard oils? But unfortunately, everything you get from mainstream got chemicals in it and it's probably killing you? No problem, we got you. Go check out my people from Top to Bottom Hair and Skincare. That's Top to Bottom Hair and Skincare. www.top2bottom, BOTTU, the U is for unique, M.com. Tell them I sent you.
Yo, good evening, everyone. And thank you for tuning in to another episode of Unfiltered Sports here on the OG Network. I'm your host, Shaq Mack. I'm the owner of the Delaware Dawgs. Better yet, I'm the owner of Dawgs Basketball. And when I say the owner of Dawgs Basketball, is because we have Delaware Dawgs, the men's team. We have the Delaware Lady Dogs, which is the first ever pro team in the state of Delaware for women. And we got the junior dogs in the works, which is going to be a couple of travel teams for the youth. And then we got a development team as well in the works. And so we got a lot of good things coming together for Dogs basketball. And again, here on Unfiltered Sports, we bring the unbiased opinion. We're not here for the PR stunt. We're not here for the fame. We're not here for none of that crazy stuff. We're just here to bring the unfiltered truth to sports news. And thank you for tuning in again. Thank you to everybody that's in the chat for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Take this time now to like and subscribe and share as well. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the NFL draft. We're going to talk about the NHL playoffs and the NBA playoffs. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Phillies baseball and what's going on with that. And then I'm going to throw in some Dogs basketball as well and kind of give you guys more of an update because it's been one full month since our season has ended and since we have progressed and done a lot of good things with the organization. And so, yeah, let's just start it, right? And so one of the biggest things that I want to talk about is how the Flyers are really, really upsetting me right now, right? When we look at the NHL playoffs, the Flyers went on a 3-game winning streak versus Pittsburgh, and then they just dropped the last two. They need to win one more game in order to advance. Like, I don't know how hard can it be for you to close out a series that you were up 3-0. It's kind of like basketball where Golden State was up 3-1 and they ended up losing. Diabolical. Crazy. But again, like, you never really believe it can happen until it happens to you, right? And so when we look at just the NHL playoffs in general, right, on the Western Conference, we got Colorado who won the series 4-0. See, simple. They did it. Why couldn't the Flyers do it? Again, it's Philly sports, right? Dallas Stars versus the Minnesota Wild. Series is tied 2-2. You got the Golden Knights and the Mammoth, and the series is tied 2-2. You got the Oilers and the Ducks. The Ducks lead the series 3-1. Ducks with the upset. Ducks with the upset. Ducks with the upset. Calling it now. I'm telling you it's going to happen. Quack, quack, quack. Go Ducks. I'm telling you. I'm a big Mighty Ducks fan. Big Mighty Ducks fan, if you couldn't tell already. You got Buffalo leading the series 3-1 over Boston. You got the series tied 2-2. The Lightning and the Canadians. You got the Carolina Hurricanes who beat the Senators 4-0. Crazy. They did it. Flyers should have done the same thing. But again, here we have it. Game 6, Philadelphia is leading 3-2 over Pittsburgh. Philadelphia needs to pull off this upset. And the next game is tomorrow night at 7:30 on TNT. Right? And the winner of that game plays the Hurricanes. So if the Flyers win, they're going to play the Hurricanes, which would be a 1 seed versus a 3 seed. And I wouldn't see why the number 3 seed couldn't pull off that upset as well. And so, yeah, very, very interesting with the playoffs. I really enjoy hockey in general. The fights, it's electrifying. It brings the energy. It is very entertaining to watch just hockey in general, even if it's not the playoffs. Like I said, the fights are there, the trash talking is there. There's a lot more things that slide in hockey than any other sports, believe it or not. And so again, like I said, I'm big on hockey as well, and that's one of my favorite sports. If you're in the chat, again, thank you for tuning in. But also throw out some of your favorite hockey teams. I want to know what is where my fans are coming from, who they cheering for, right? Because I like the trash talk, and if I can throw the heat, then I expect people to trash talk and throw the heat back when it comes to sports. Because again, that's just the nature of the game. We keep it unfiltered here on Unfiltered Sports. Um, like I said, I'm a huge Flyers fan, huge Sixers fan, huge Phillies fan. Anything Philly sports, that's me. I support them no matter win, lose, or draw, how terrible they're doing. That's just the nature of the game in itself. Alrighty. Outside of hockey, right? One of the things we're going to look at too is, like I said, that NFL draft. When we look at the NFL draft as a whole, right? We look at how um, San Francisco had the first pick in the NFL draft. Or sorry, that was round two. I'm messing this one up big time. We had the Raiders with the first pick in the 2026 NFL draft, and they drafted QB Fernando Mendoza. Was that a good pickup for them, or was that a bad pickup? Honestly speaking, I think it was a good pickup. Solid QB in college. Now it's time to see what he can do in the pros. And if I'm not mistaken, Mendoza's from Miami, and when he went to Miami and won that championship game down in Miami, it was crazy, unexpected, and he showed his talent that they should have picked him. Hometown hero right there is what he could have been. Could have brought a championship back to Miami. Crazy how the world works and how sports work as well. Then you got New York at the number 2 pick. It was the Jets. Of course, they went for edge and they picked David Bailey. I mean, was that a good pick for them? I don't know, but who really wants to play for the Jets? Honestly speaking, it's the Jets. They're not that good at all. Then you got the Cardinals, drafted a running back. You got who is this? Tennessee. Make sure I'm right. Yep, Tennessee with a new logo. Tennessee drafted a wide receiver. Probably a good choice. The Giants drafted a linebacker. Kansas City drafted a cornerback. Then you got the Commanders, who drafted a linebacker. Saints wide receiver. The Browns offensive tackle. The Giants offensive tackle. The Cowgirls safety. Then you got the Dolphins with an offensive tackle, followed by the Rams with a QB, Ravens with a offensive guard. The outside guard, sorry. You got an edge rusher, followed by tight end, offensive tackle, defensive tackle, again, offensive tackle, and then the Eagles with that wide receiver pick. Philadelphia Eagles, who, by the way, Howie Roseman is clever. Let me just put that out there, right? Because the Eagles traded with the Dallas Cowgirls to take the 20th pick in the NFL, the first round, right? And they drafted this wide receiver. The whole time, the Steelers were on the phone talking about, we're taking you next, we're taking you next, we're taking you next. And what happened? Eagles came in and swooped down and took that wide receiver like it was nothing. Something Dan Marino couldn't have done. He couldn't have predicted that was going to happen at all. Just saying. We don't like challenging people. But if I got to challenge you, I'm going to challenge you. That's for sure. And so, let me put this pillow behind me really fast. Perfect. But I think overall, the Eagles draft, I'll give them a solid B plus. I think their entire draft was a B plus. What would you rate your team in draft? Because I know Miami didn't do so good. Let's see. Let's see here. Let's go by teams here. Let's see if we get a ranking of everyone's draft because that'd be interesting too. Ben, I heard your homie was looking for me, Ben. You might want to go back on the Fracker show and tell him to come over here and talk some trash because he not with it. No, ESPN doesn't rank them. Interesting. I want to know what the overall ranking would be for the Eagles compared to the Dolphins. It said that the Eagles needed a safety, linebacker, offensive tackle, tight end, and an edge, and they got everything except for a linebacker. They rated the pickup of wide receiver Makai Lemon as a B plus. They picked up another tight end. Then Miami traded, and we got Markel Bell, got Cole Payton, Micah Morris, Cole, whatever his last name is, I can't say that. Wisnowski, something like that. And then the talk of the night, though, was this draft pick, the defensive tackle. I'm going to say his name wrong, but he's from Nigeria. I'm going to call him Hugh Bernard. Hugh Bernard never played a game of football, and I guess just decided one day that he was going to try out for pro football. And look at him. Like, crazy. I think he's going to be a great addition to the defense, though, right? People are going to try to do the tush push, and people are going to try to do all of this fancy stuff or whatever it may be. But believe it or not, I don't think that people are going to be successful with the tush push at all right now because of everything that's going on. So just think that how we started something good. What did Miami do? What did Miami do? Oh, you're a Penguins fan now. Let's go back to that. That's the crazy part, right? Because the Flyers were up 3-0. I was just talking about this, and then now they up 3-2. Like, that's ridiculous. But I mean, hey, we all know the Flyers suck, and I really didn't expect Flyers to even make it this far. Wasn't expecting them, but just imagine they went on almost a 15 to 20 game win streak before they lost. So that tells you a lot about what's actually going on in their industry and the organization as a whole, right? Because they were losing. They never had a shot at actually making the playoffs, and then they went on a 15-game win streak to sneak into the playoffs. Ben, I know you got a favorite hockey team. It's gotta be Pittsburgh. It's gotta be. But you say you don't watch hockey though. Interesting. Very interesting. Man, it makes me look like when I lean back that I ain't got nobody or nothing. But yeah, Ben, you need a favorite hockey team, Ben. Watch some hockey. What about soccer? You like soccer, Ben? I'm a soccer fan. I know you got to watch some soccer. Philadelphia Union. Let's see what the Philadelphia Union doing right now. Ooh. 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 That's okay. We all know. Everybody got to hate on the Broad Street Bullies. The Broad Street Bullies is probably before your time though, Ben. That's the crazy part. So right now, In the Major League Soccer, Nashville is number one with 7 wins. Inter Miami is number 2 with 5 wins. Chicago's number 3 with 5. New England's number 4 with 5. Charlotte's number 5 with 4 wins. Toronto number 6 with 3. New York City's number 7 with 3. Columbus and Cincinnati are tied with 3-3 as their record. Or actually, you could say add DC United and New York Red Bulls because their all record is 3-3. And then you turn around, you got in the 12th seed Montreal 3-0, Atlanta United 2-1, Orlando City 2-1, and in last place Philadelphia Union with 1 win, 2 draws, and 7 losses. Wow. Last year, like this is a complete 360 for the Soul or the Union. I don't know why I keep calling them the Soul, because the Union last season was in the playoffs. Now it look like they pulling the Allen Iverson. Practice. We talk about practice. They need the practice. 1 win and 7 losses is diabolical. The fact of the matter is that the Union was what do you call it? The Union was number 1 in the MLS last year. So the Union played 34 matches. They won 20, they lost 8, and they tied 6. So how you go from winning 20 games to losing almost 20 games is what it feels like. This is crazy, man. But back to NHL. We look at this NHL stuff, right? And I find it interesting because, one, Colorado out of all teams went to the next round. I shouldn't say out of all teams, because they are a solid contender team every single year. But the fact that they blew out the Kings, it says something about them. They might go all the way and win it this year if they beat the Golden Knights. But the reason I said Colorado, though, is interesting for them is because they were the first ever state to legalize marijuana. So I wonder what their protocol is for their players to play on their team and take part in recreational marijuana. Not just for that team because they're from Colorado, but for any team across the board. Think about it. Imagine some of their players, they just, roll up one, they smoke it, and then they play hockey. Do they not feel the pain if they knock somebody out like that? Like, that's interesting right there. That's what I'm like, I'm mind blown about this just thinking about it now, because again, if a player gets that high and they go out and play the game, then they knock somebody out, how bad is the pain during and after the actual, incident or whatever? I wonder, do hockey players actually they have to do something to recover their bodies, because the amount of skating you got to do, your body has to be drained and exhausted when you're done playing hockey. And then you got to turn around, you skating backwards, you got to knock somebody out, you got to throw hands with somebody, you got to flip somebody into the stands or whatever it may be. It's just a lot of energy being exhausted playing a game of hockey. Let's go to basketball because Ben wants to talk trash about basketball. But we talk about practice here. Practice. Let's go to the NBA playoffs because Ben want to talk about practice. Practice. How can I make my team better by practice? Uh, the Sixers get blown out badly. That's a interesting statement right there. Will they get blown out badly? No. I think the Sixers win this game in Philadelphia. Boston wants to take it back to Boston to try to win a game or win it at home. What I think is going to happen, though, is that it's going to come down to the wire. Joel Embiid should not start in this next game. He needs to be put on restricted minutes because he has hurt the flow of the team. The team was doing way better with him not in the starting lineup. He needs to work his way back into that starting lineup. That's just my thought process. That's just my point of view, and I'm sticking to it right there. Let's go to the Western Conference because the question asked is, did LeBron get ejected from the game? We're talking about the Lakers leading 3-1. I don't know if he was actually ejected from the game. Let's double check that right there because he hasn't been ejected from many games. And so let's see. It says that LeBron James was not ejected from the game personally, but he expressed frustration over the ejection of his teammates DeAndre Ayton and whoever that other guy is, Ado, but they lost the game. Is that your king? Are you crazy right now? Are you crazy? Are you crazy right now? Like, it's funny. Very funny. How the heck do you think that LeBron is still your king? Hmm? Tell me that, Ben. How do you think LeBron is your king still? Like, we had this conversation last week when we had the Dawgs player on here and we asked the question last week, and we'll bring it up again because you're talking about your king. Michael Jordan in the Michael Jordan era. Michael Jordan in the Michael Jordan era was talked about by every single kid. Everybody said, make me like Mike. I want to be like Mike. Kobe in the Kobe era. Kobe, Black Mamba, Mamba mentality. Everybody talking about Kobe. LeBron in the LeBron era. Who are we talking about? We're talking about Steph Curry in the LeBron era. Steph Curry runs this era. Simple. It is what it is. But the funny thing is, LeBron, looking at if you watch LeBron's game from the time he played basketball in the NBA, like when time he was a rookie to now, his game is starting to like decline a lot. Not because of his age, but because if he was such a if he was the best player, he would have taken every single game winning shot there was for his team. I've seen on too many to count on my hands here, many games where he passed up the last shot. Not because he thought it was going to be the better shot opportunity because he thinks he's the better person on every team he goes to, but because he wanted to pad his stats. All right, I need another assist to get a triple double. I need another assist to get a double double, whatever. 10 seconds left in the game, I got the wide open shot. Instead of taking the open shot, I'm going to make people come to me. Then I'm going to pass it really fast. And then they're going to take the shot and hope it goes in. But see, when Kyrie tried to do that, LeBron wanted to fight him. LeBron wanted to argue with him. When J.R. Smith did that in the finals, LeBron threw a hissy fit. How are you considered the greatest of all time and the king of your era if all you do is throw temper tantrums on the court? I've never seen a grown man a day in my life jump up and down and stomp and throw a temper tantrum because something didn't go his way. Because the coach didn't want to challenge the call, because the player didn't pass him the basketball, because they didn't do what he told him to do. He wants to throw a temper tantrum. LeBron is a big baby. A big baby. Tyrese Maxey is a decent player. And if Tyrese Maxey was on a different team, playing the way he was playing, he would have won MVP, and they would have considered him the next face of the NBA. Just saying. Hands down, I'm just saying. And you know it's true, Ben. But you want to sit there and smoke that weed, smoke that crack, whatever you want, and talk all this trash. For what? Because Tyrese is a decent player. VJ Edgecombe is a decent player. So what are we talking about here? And that's exactly why LeBron wears purses and dresses. Because all he wants to do is throw temper tantrums. It's a shame. And then you got your son playing in the NBA with you. How did he get even drafted? Like JJ Redick said, he worked hard. He did this. He did that. How? Where? Where? Oh my gosh. I guess it's crazy. Ron, you're a joke and your opinion doesn't matter. Man. But it's funny though, because if anybody's opinion doesn't matter, Ben, your opinion don't matter. Why? Because you don't even know how to like teams. You better off saying you a Cowgirls fan. Honestly. You only a Dolphins fan? Why? I don't even believe it's because of Dan Marino, honestly. I think you're just making that up and using that as a front. It's a joke. I'm only a Dolphins fan because of Dan Marino. he said, I'm legally blind. Hold it down. Hold it down. Man. I think the way Ben picked his teams that he liked was that he went through every professional sports organization and he looked at the colors of every team and goes, I like that color right there. I like those colors right there. I like those colors right there. And that's how he became a Miami Dolphins fan, Golden State Warriors fan, and then became a fan of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Oh, man, it's a struggle. That's how a lot of people pick their teams, though, based off the colors. I like the color red, so I'm going to be a 49ers fan or a Cardinals fan. I like the color green, so I'm going to be an Eagles fan or a Jets fan. I like the color blue, so I'm going to be a Cowgirls fan. Like, it's diabolical, delusional people. Ben celebrates Pride Month with the trans people. That's how he picked it. He had a whole straight line. He's like, all right, I'm a go through the pro baseball. All right, MLB. Pick a color. Then he had his eyes closed. Then he finally landed on the color. Opened his eyes, yellow. And then everybody in the background, yay! Then he did the same thing again. Closed his eyes for basketball. He landed on yellow again. Yay! Close his eyes again. Then he landed on blue. Yay! That's how he picked his teams. That's how he kept it going. See, when I first started following sports in general, it was 2001, and I didn't know really much about sports or anything at all. I'm still young. But the first question I asked when I played a game, a video game, I said, who's the home team? Like, I want to know the city that I lived in, which was Philadelphia. At the, you know, as young as I was, I didn't know who the home teams were for each thing. So when I seen it was Philadelphia, I was like, I'm a Philadelphia fan. Then the same thing with football. Who's the home team? Philadelphia. I'm an Eagles fan. And that year, in 2004, when they went to the Super Bowl, I was a part of that. And then hockey, around that same time frame, 2004, I started following the Flyers as well. So 2001, I started following the Sixers. 2004, started following the Flyers and the Eagles, and then I started picking up soccer. As I went along. At the time, the Phantoms were in Philadelphia as well. Then they moved out to Lehigh Valley, I believe it was. And so, I've been through the Wachovia Center, the Wells Fargo Center, and now the Xfinity Mobile Arena. And believe it or not, I was around when Veterans Stadium was still up, and then that was knocked down. Lincoln Financial Field was built, and then Xfinity Live was put up right there. So I think it's interesting. Find out that all these things are happening or whatever it may be. But I'm always been a Phillies fan. But when it came to baseball, even in 2004 when I followed the Phillies, the one thing when it came to baseball was I've always been a Ken Griffey Jr. fan. Always have been, always will be Ken Griffey Jr. fan. And it was crazy because the church that I went to in Ohio, a couple of guys got together when they found out that I was a Ken Griffey Jr. fan. And they went and got a Cincinnati Reds photo of Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. together, and it was autographed. And it was a great, great Christmas gift, and I have it packed away right now. But once I get my man cave up and going, it's going to be pretty dope to hang it up or whatnot. But for them, it's just funny. It's something funny because I'm a Philly guy, or Philly teams all around, or whatever it may be. But then they see that I liked Ken Griffey Jr., and it has something to resemble to Ohio. So it was a meaningful gift, but it was funny for them because they're like, you like this Ohio guy, oh, you like this. Penn State, I trash talk, Ohio State and all of that stuff when it comes to football because I'm a Penn State fan when it comes to football. When it comes to basketball, I'm a Villanova fan. When it comes to, the pros, obviously any Philly team that I root for as well. I've been to a couple Philadelphia Soul game where I was like right there on the wall, and the players come up, I shake their hands or whatever. And then it was this one game I remember, like we were sitting like 3 rows from the wall, and the player comes by, we move up, we shake their hands or whatever, we're talking to them, and then from there, these guys were walking the aisles or whatever, like the workers, and he had a whole handful of peanut chews. And I look at my friends, and he's like, don't do it, don't do it. So I asked him, I said, what you got in your hand right there? He goes, it's peanut chews. I said, you giving them out? He goes, no. I said, so you're hiring? He's like, no, but here you can have these peanut chews. So he gave me like a king size pack of peanut chews or whatever. And my friends are looking at me and it's like, I hate you. It's like everywhere we go, you always getting something for free. I said, you just got to know how to connect with people and get them to realize what you want. I said I wanted the candy, so I went and got the peanut chews. He gave it to me for free. But I also got to go down there and shake the players' hands and all that stuff, and got like this bag and whatnot. It was a great time, a great experience, and I had fun. But I highly encourage anyone who has not really been to a sports game in person to take that opportunity and experience at least once. It's definitely going to be something that you don't forget, because obviously, like, it's your first time doing something, and it'll be what do you call it? Something you can just check off your bucket list. Tell your kids when you get older, yes, I done this, I done that, or whatever. And I say go out and experience new things, because it allows you to go out and actually like enjoy life outside of the bubble that you live in. And then you could talk to your kids and be like, oh, well, we did this, we did that, blah, 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 and have them experience life as well. But always create that bucket list and just check things off that bucket list little by little by little. But with that being said, everybody, I'm going to give you the rest of your day back. I appreciate your time. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in to Unfiltered Sports, where we don't care about the PR stunts. We don't care about the biasness. We're not here for the TV publicity or none of that stuff. We're here to bring the unfiltered truth to sports news. And with that being said, I'm Shaq Mack, your host, the owner of Dawgs Basketball. Until next time, y'all have a great night.
Fellas, ladies, you looking for lotions? You looking for beard oils? But unfortunately, everything you get from mainstream got chemicals in it and it's probably killing you? No problem, we got you. Go check out my people from Top to Bottom Hair and Skincare. That's Top to Bottom Hair and Skincare. www.top2bottom, BOTTU, the U is for unique, M.com. Tell them I sent you.